Yeah, good morning, millionaires. Good morning, millionaires. Normally, give me a replay, gang, if you're watching the replay. Normally, this would be Miss Alma Nantwi, Alma the CPA, but I'm holding it down for this morning. We got a heck of a day planned, but teamwork make the dream work, baby. And today I'm gonna give you 7 money rules that can help anybody avoid poverty. I'm gonna give you some poverty busters this morning. Let me call in on this live line. I know y'all ain't expecting me. I hope you ain't disappointed, baby.
You have something special. You have greatness in you. Hello, this is Les Brown, and you're in the right place at the right time because we're going to bring the millionaire out of you. Just hold on.
Yeah, let's get it. Let's get it.
Thank you. Please announce yourself.
All right.
All participants are muted. Entry and exit tones are off.
Yeah, surprise. I know normally it's Miss Alma Nantwi. She holds it down for us normally on Saturday mornings. Yeah, what's up, Allie? Hey, there goes my baby. We about to get it cracking. Y'all know daylight savings time is tomorrow or really like tonight, right? At midnight. But let me tell you something. Your savings time better be every day. Your savings time better be every day. You know, they say Jesus saves, but you better invest. You hear what I'm talking about? And what I'm going to do this morning in 15 minutes, I'm going to give you 15 minutes of fire. You know what I mean? All I want to do, right, is give you something that you can use. I want to change your life this morning. And we do this 6 days a week. Only day we take off is on Sundays, you know. We let you rest on Sundays. Okay. Crystal Clear checking in. Oh, Allie, don't start, girl. Crystal Clear checking in. Mama Mahasan in the house. The YouTube gang checking in. You know what I'm saying? All right, so I'm going to get to it because we only got 15 minutes and we got a heck of a day today. You know what I mean? If you know, you know. But what we got to understand in this even before this hyperinflation crisis, even before the pandemic, we got to understand that financial challenges are kind of predictable. That's a consistent and predictable occurrence in the lives of most of Americans, even when we out here in the richest country in the world. Ain't that right, Michael Douglas? You know, that's why tonight's Kaizen Academy is focused on sales. Because, I mean, are you okay with being an entrepreneur that knows nothing about the selling process? Are you okay with them programming you to want to buy and consume, but also programming you to hate the idea of sales? You can't be cool with that. And then at one point or another, you know, we find ourselves, because of this programming, struggling to keep up with bills. Even though we got a good job, we barely have enough money to survive. Even though we got a good job, even people like Mike Tyson, who earned close to $500 million in his prime, lost everything before he started his climb back up out of hell, right? Because he disrespected the rules of money. There are laws at work. There are laws of nature that we all got to abide by because we're a part of nature. You know, for instance, something can only grow or die. Well, that's talking about your wealth. That's talking about your health. That's talking about your relationships. Things can only grow or die. That's a rule. That's a law of nature. You get what I'm saying? Things in nature can only grow or die. I give you another. I mean, think about it. If a priest and a prostitute jump off the roof at the same time, there's a law called gravity that's going to make them hit the ground at the same time. Can you feel me on that? What I'm saying to you is there are laws at work. Now, there's a law of gravity, but then you got a law called aerodynamics that gets more powerful than the law of gravity and allows us to fly. You get what I'm saying to you? But the fact that you don't understand the law don't mean the law don't exist. There are laws at work. And what I want you to understand is that the opposite of wealth is not poverty. The opposite of wealth is mismanagement. You hear what I'm saying to you? Somebody give me that in the comments. The opposite of wealth is mismanagement. If you understand that one concept, it can change everything for you. One of my favorite ways to explain this to you and how poverty is a mental sickness. You can write that down if you want to. Poverty is a mental sickness. If you're living in the richest country in the world and you feel impoverished or you are living in lack, then you are dealing with a mental sickness. You hear what I'm saying to you? I'll prove it to you. If you've been working 10 years and you ain't got $10,000, if you've been working 5 years and you ain't got $5,000, you haven't saved $20 a week. Nobody's homeless because they saved $20 a week. Nobody is starving to death because they saved $20 a week. But what you're dealing with is mental sickness. And so what I'm going to do this morning is I'm going to give you 7 rules that will help you never be broke again. If you want to get your money game right, I want you to learn these critical principles and then apply them religiously. This got to be your new thing. You know what I mean? The opposite of wealth is mismanagement. The opposite of wealth is mismanagement. The opposite of wealth is mismanagement. That's important. That's important. That's important. The opposite of wealth is mismanagement. Let's go. The opposite of wealth is mismanagement. All right. Here's rule number 1. Write this down if you agree, and then give me a share. Here's rule number 1. You got to assess your current situation. Listen to me. Many people are under this illusion that their financial situation is in great shape. That's because they never take the time to assess where they are. I don't care if you're in a Toyota or you're in a Bugatti or you're in a private jet. 2 things you need to know to get where you're going. You need to know where you are, and you need to know where you want to go. That's why last week, I mean, even me and my lady, man, we writing out these dream paragraphs because we want to know where we're trying to go. Can you assess your current situation? That's because, listen to me, the GPS, that God positioning system in your life, it can't even click on if you don't know where you are and where you're trying to go. Now, a lot of people don't even know where they're trying to go. But even those that know where they're trying to go could be sped up. It can 10x your life. It can increase your potential. It can make your potential exponential if you will just be honest about where you are. So what does this have to do with your money? I want you to take time to calculate your total debt. I want you to take time to add up the cash value of all your assets. If your assets are greater than your debt, you're in good shape. But if your debt is greater than your assets, I didn't say your money. I didn't say the cash you got laying around. I didn't say the liabilities that are depreciating every year like your car. I'm talking about your assets. If your debt is greater than your assets, that means you're broke. So what you got to do is think of ways to pay off your debt. Either you got to earn cash from a second job. You know what I mean? 2 jobs is for 2 people. Or you have to create a business. All you need to be financially free is more residual income than you have residual bills. Now, of course, we got options for that, baby. But this is not that kind of training, so we ain't going to get into it. But you can search my timeline and find all kinds of ideas. We got 5 different hustles. You can start for under $100. You hear what I'm saying to you? But what I want you to understand is that you need to be thinking of ways to pay off your debt, either by earning cash from a second job or earning cash from a business, create and sell some products. This ain't easy, but it is simple. And it can be done when you have a plan and you're willing to do whatever it takes to work your plan. Because the first step to change is always awareness. Here's number 2, measure and manage everything. Peter Drucker is one of my favorite gurus that nobody ever heard of. He's a management guru, right? I'm going to tell you something. Whatever gets measured gets better. Whatever you measure, you manage. You got to measure and manage everything. Somebody give me that as number 2. Measure and manage everything. If number 1 is assess your current situation, somebody give me number 2. Measure and manage everything. Listen to me. Having a budget is the cornerstone of your financial fortress. You want to build a fortress, right? Well, having a budget is the way you do that. There are several ways to create a workable budget. You can use a tool like an Excel spreadsheet. You can use this debt elimination system. We'll show you how to get. We got budgeting tools. Here's the whole idea, man. Once you've gathered some data, you want to periodically go over these expenses. You want to make sure you're catching fraudulent charges. You want to make sure you're catching unauthorized transactions. You want to make sure, y'all, that you're getting rid of subscriptions that you're on that you don't even use no more, that aren't even really providing you any value. Don't you know pennies turn into dollars and dollars turn into hundreds of dollars, and then hundreds of dollars turn into thousands of dollars? That's the way this game works. Compounding is the 8th wonder of the world, and most people have no idea what compounding is. Einstein called compounding the 8th wonder of the world. I'm going to record this right now so that you have this forevermore inside your YouTube training. If you're on Millionaire Minded TV, check this out. If you invest $40 a week, 1 year later, you're going to have $21.93. If you invest $40 a week and you put it into an ETF, right, an exchange traded fund that mirrors the S&P 500, which is usually about 10%. It averages like a 10% return. That ain't even a lot, y'all. But check this out. If you just invest $40 a week in an ETF, 5 years later, you got $13,000. 10 years later, you got $34,000. You hear me? 30 years later, you have $357,000. This is $40 a week, y'all. 50 years later, you'll have $2,526,696. Compounding is the eighth wonder of the world. Either you understand it and earn it, or you don't understand it and pay it. That is the play with compounding interest. Either those who understand it earn it, those who don't understand it pay it. All right, here's number three. So we said measure and manage. Measure and manage was number 2. Here's number 3. Be logical when you're making expenditures. Be logical. This world is trying to get you to be emotional. This world wants you to feel insecure and scared because that makes you a better consumer. And here in America, 70% of our gross domestic product is consumption. So check it out. You got to think with more of your critical mind. You have to be logical when you're making expenditures. Now, in this social media world, certain things are logical to spend money on. Like maybe you want to spend a little bit more money on your appearance than you would have in a non-social media world if you have a business. I ain't talking about doing it for likes. I'm talking about doing it for money, for liquidity, right? There are ways that you want to market yourself, and everybody loves a winner. You get what I'm saying? But that's a way of logic. Now, sometimes logic can turn into you rationalizing or telling yourself rational lies. I'll give you an example. The worst time to go shopping is when you're hungry. That's because now you're driven by the need to satisfy your appetite at that moment. You hear what I'm saying? Somebody give me that in the comments. The worst time for you to go shopping for groceries is when you're hungry. That's because you're driven by the need to satisfy your appetite. What you want to do is meet yourself with your critical mind. Because when you are meeting your current emotional needs, it clouds your ability to make rational decisions. Nobody earns their money because of emotions, y'all. If you don't train your mind to be stronger than your emotions, you're going to lose every time. Emotions are the leading cause of expenditures. 80% of purchases are impulse buys, but logic is the driving force of income. The universal principle, the law, is that we engage in logical activities that create value, and then we trade that value that we create for money. Logic is the driving force of income. Emotion is the driving force of expenditures. You hear me? Logic drives your income. Emotion drives your expenses. Do you see what I'm saying to you? Write that down if you agree, and then share this with somebody. What I want you to understand is that, simply put, when it comes to the affairs of money, emotions can't always be trusted. If you're trying to preserve your wealth, if you're trying to increase your wealth, always look for ways to save money on expenses, but be courageous, be daring, and decisive when you're making investments. You hear what I'm saying to you? Make it a game and enjoy it. Remember, money earners rely on logic. Money spenders rely on emotion. You hear what I'm saying to you? Here's number 4. Diversify your source of income. Diversify your source of income. We only got 3 minutes left, so I got to hurry up. There are few millionaires and even fewer billionaires in the world that rely on one source of income. Now, you got to do this with the proper time, right? You don't want to be diversifying your income streams and all you got so far is a puddle. First, you want to focus on one puddle and make that into a stream, and then it's time to diversify. A lot of people think that the money they make from their job is going to be enough because they're contributing to their little retirement fund. I'm going to tell you something. Newsflash, your current income or retirement plan will never be enough to support you because there's something called inflation. No matter how busy you are, no matter how challenging it might be, you got to start thinking of ways to earn some alternative sources of income. You can either freelance online, use some skills. My daughter was asking me the other day, like, how do I start a business? Look for something you love to do and then use it to help people. She loves baking. I'm like, you can quit that job right now by just baking cupcakes and cookies for the dorm, right? And then getting busy. What I'm saying to you is you got to find a way to start a business. Never depend on a single income. Here's number 5, focus on the future. Number 5, focus on the future. If number 4 is diversify, number 5 is focus on the future. Achieving financial freedom requires a massive dose of discipline. It requires massive responsibility for managing your cash. You hear what I'm saying to you? You can't fall for every hot stock. You can't fall for every get-rich-quick scam that comes across your consciousness. There's always a trail of how people are really making money. Success leaves clues. For every Elon Musk that creates a PayPal, there's a few dozen others that create a Dwala or a Square, like Jack Dorsey did with Square and Twitter. There's a Stripe. To become independently wealthy, y'all, you got to study long-term trends. You got to study human nature. You got to study cultural and geopolitical dynamics, right? I ain't trying to get all deep on you, but I found that the best way that people get rich and stay rich is to provide a solution to one of those 7 needs in Maslow's hierarchy. Go Google that, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. All right, here's number 6 I got for you. Be antisocial sometimes. Be antisocial for some time. Getting your financial house in order might mean you can't just be out here going to every party. It might have an adverse impact on your social life at first. But then after you're rich, you get to turn back up. You get what I'm saying? There's a reason that I own my home with no mortgage. There's a reason that I'm so dead serious about teaching financial literacy. Millionaires, first I had to be like a hobbit. I had to be like a hermit. You hear what I'm saying? I'm not saying that your friends and family are the cause of your problems, but I am saying that they can be enablers that will help you stay in your problem. They're used to the old you, and you cannot get new results thinking the old way. You hear what I'm saying? And then that brings me to number 7 for you, right? After you use that reclaimed time to upgrade your abilities by learning new tools, new skills, new languages, right? Like the language of finances, we call that financial literacy. Because you got to remember, there are 3 types of currency. You got time, you got skills, and you have money. Somebody give me that in the comments. There are 3 currencies: time, skills, and money. And whichever one you don't have, you got to use the other 2 to get it. If you ain't got no skills, you got to use your time and your money to get the skills. That's why we have the Kaizen Academy. You hear me? That's why we have the Kaizen Academy. If you don't have the money, you got to use the time and the skills to get the money. If you don't have the time, you got to use the money and the skills to get you some time. And if you don't have the skills, you got to use the money and the time to get you some skills. Those are the 3 currencies: time, money, and skill. But number 7 is this: be obsessed with achieving results. Be obsessed with success. Your initial financial freedom plan is going to fail. I can almost guarantee it. I'm 97% certain of that. In spite of guaranteed failure, right, though, it's still worth it, because what you're going to do is learn something. I hope that something in today's training kind of resonates with you. I hope it pushes you to act with purpose. One way to create that passion, and we got plenty of videos on this at Millionaire Minded TV. If you haven't joined the YouTube channel, make sure you go there. But there are plenty of ways to spark your passion. My favorite way is to use something that I love to help other people. If you're looking for your purpose in life, if you want to move with purpose, if you want to be a rebel with a cause, then what you do is use it as a multiplication problem. Passion times service equals purpose. Like my mentor, Mr. Les Brown, always says, most people fail in life, not because they aim too high and miss, but because they aim too low and hit it right smack dab in the center. I hope this was helpful for you. Look, it's affirmation time. Calling on the line right now. Calling on the line right now. Even on Saturdays, we be getting busy, man. It's affirmation time. Call in right now. If your phone line tries to charge you, just text message, call me to the same number, 667-776-9461. Call me, text call me to the same number and call in. Let's do our affirmations, y'all, on a Saturday morning. Repeat after me.